following program was made possible by Bonfils Stanton Foundation and viewers like you.
If I can play bass and plate mail, I'm in.
Come on
just
now.
like, I want plate mail, chain mail, give me a helmet. Oh my God, I'll die a happy
Wait, have you
death.
asked for that yet?
No, I'm asking for it right now.
There we go.
On PBS.
All right.
Does anyone have plate mail that I can borrow?
We just need some donations from a good viewer like you. Just
Thank you.
small donation.
You're on my to-do list. I got you right on top. I'm gonna need your assistance to put a check in my box. Well, I wouldn't call it hard work, just a bit of good fun.
Thank you, Gothic Theater. I am Stephen Brackett, the host of Sounds on 29th with PBS 12. Let me tell you, being able to sit down and talk with musicians who are so dedicated, who took talent and then put in the hard work to get to mastery is no joke. Beyond that, I have never talked to another group of musicians that has more extensive lore. Like, if you talk about like their alter egos and all of these other things, it's utterly fantastic. So can you all please give a warm round of applause for one of Colorado's best and greatest, Big Richard.
First the world was fire, burning hot and fast and dry. We watched the land grow hotter, ashes fell down from the sky. Then we watched the forest blacken, we cried out bravery. Oh, but the wind had just been stronger all around us, burning flames. However big, however strong, you're gonna build it, someday it's gonna fall. No matter how big, no matter how strong, you can build it, someday it's gonna fall. And then the rain had started and our world came pouring down. Then we packed our things, we spread our wings and we head for higher ground. It washed away so much we loved, we were left standing here. All of this broken land made new again, the water washed it clear. However big, however strong, you're gonna build it, someday it's gonna fall. No matter how big, no matter how strong, you can build it, someday it's gonna fall. Our air is turned to poison and our water catches flame. You know we're blowing out the ground under our beds in which we lay. We are digging holes, we'll never fill the ground, shakes to protest. But we just close our minds and eyes and ears, there ain't no stopping progress. However big, however strong, you're gonna build it, someday it's gonna fall. No matter how big, no matter how strong, you can build it, someday it's gonna fall. However big, however strong, you're gonna build it, but someday it's gonna fall. No matter how big, no matter how strong, you can build it, but someday, but someday, 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 someday. Don't you know it's gonna fall?
What is up, y'all? I'm so glad to have you all here. Can you all describe bluegrass as a genre with you, Big Richard, as the archetypal bluegrass band?
Wow. Wow. Well, I feel like we're kind of like an antithesis of like some normal things in bluegrass, some standard things like instrumentation. We definitely go against the grain because I feel like the typical instrumentation would be much more classic, like banjo, 3-finger style, like banjo, guitar, mandolin, fiddle, bass, dobro maybe, and we don't have a guitar and we have a cello principally, you know, so that already is like, bluegrass people are like, "Wah!" Like they're kind of freaked out.
It's exactly that.
So.
That's what they do.
I feel like we are at a time of reckoning and actually finding out like the stereotypes of certain things have nothing to do with the history of it. Can you talk a bit about the invisible story and who contributed to old-time music and all those things that you talked
totally.
about?
Well, I mean, the biggest one I think is people stereotypically think that bluegrass is a white genre, and it's simply not. I mean, the banjo came from Africa, and there's such a deep tradition of black fiddlers that gets washed over and ignored. And also women too. Women are deep in those genres. Yeah, I just think that white stereotype is totally wrong. But of course, it's like, those are the people who make it in the pictures, so that's what people think.
Bluegrass kind of has, people think of it in a traditional approach as you're going to play these songs that were in these keys from these years, and that's the tradition. The tradition lies in the actual material itself. And when you look at bluegrass and what it was at the time of music, it was innovating, they were pioneering new ideas. So I think a lot of tradition lies in the innovation and doing things in a fresh way through these instruments and with this, you know, traditional string band approach. So for me, that's where the tradition lies too.
Jane has gone crazy and she won't come inside. The window I peer through as I kneel on the floor. I see her long hair, she won't come to the door. How do we stay safe from the cold in our grave? How do we stay safe from the cold in our grave? Concentric circles walk drowning round, holding a bottle in the other hand. She pours the water onto the sand. How do we stay safe from the cold in our grave? How do we stay safe from the cold in our grave? Tree right beside her has died 1,000 times, and it withers and fades in the absence of real time. And I might be with her in this wasteland, but I'm hiding, I hope to be gone. How do we stay safe from the cold in our graves? How do we stay safe from the cold in our grave? How do we stay safe from the cold in our graves? How do we stay safe from the cold in our graves? How do we stay safe from the cold in our graves? How do we stay safe from the cold in our graves?
Do you all plan shows along those lines? I mean, do you like knowing that that's a regular effect? Like, how do you maximize it, or?
Oh, I was just going to say, just knowing the personalities on stage, I feel like sometimes the more we plan for something, the less likely it may be to happen.
Yeah.
But it does feel like we just, yeah, I think sometimes people see 4 women on stage and they do have an expectation that they're going to get a specific show from that. And yeah, and I do feel like a lot of the time it can go in a completely different direction, and a lot of the time we don't know what that's going to be and where it's going to go.
I do feel
and
like
it's-
we're surprising ourselves a lot of the
We're,
times.
we're very much playing for each other, and there's a great deal of there's so many inside jokes. There's so many inside challenges and games that we have now between ourselves, and so I worry sometimes that people come to our shows and it's just like watching one giant inside joke go down, and hopefully that's entertaining to other people.
How have you found taking up your space and claiming your space in the genre? And what do you think that means to your audiences?
We kind of have this saying in Big Richard of Big Richard, big feelings. Because I think people come to our show with the impression that, I feel like our first impression is kind of maybe your first impression of us greasy coat, these old time burners and kind of a ragey party thing, and you come here ready to be yeah! and thing, and then you end up crying, and we're singing sad songs, and you come up to, people are coming up to us at the end and hugging us, and literally grown men tears, it's it's really fun to be able to feel like I myself as a performer go to these emotional brinks, and for people to come with us and come with us all the way, so much that they're feeling really affected by it and they want to come tell us about it afterwards. That to me, making that emotional outlet available to people, maybe even when they're not expecting it and don't know that they need it, but then they really tap into something. I love that. That's the thing that we provide that space for, and really get a lot of, I feel takers in that. They come and they're we need this, so they're sign me up, I'll take some. So I love that.
Into the hallway, door on the left. In the darkness, don't forget to skip a step. Down in the basement, there is a hole, and they won't fix it, though it's claimed so many souls. So we whisper, so we war, so we won't burn down the house where we were born. Is a monster hidden there? Tell me, why won't we repair the missing stair? Walking on eggshells, walking away, always so careful with the words I choose to say. Here in the lamplight, everything glows, blurring the lines between the lies and what I know. So we whisper, so we war, so we won't burn down the house where we were born. Is a monster hidden there? Tell me, why won't we repair the missing stair? The missing stair. The missing stair. Oh, the missing stair. done something. You know I should have done more, but I didn't see you when you opened up that door. Now they're gonna blame you for breaking your bones. They're gonna call it gravity while casting all their stones. Still we whisper, still we war, 'cause we can't burn down the house where we were born. Made a monster and hit him there. Tell me, why won't we repair the missing stair? The missing stair. The missing stair. Oh, the missing stair. Tell me, why won't we repair the missing stair?
Can you explain to me like the differences between like recording a live album and then like doing like a studio album? And what are some of the things like what are the pros and cons of either?
I could talk about this forever.
A live album is just an album of regrets.
No, that is not true. That's not true. I have the opposite feeling. Oh my God.
Like I feel like there's some pressure that comes, there's like some pressure on a live album because you're like, okay, well here's my one shot. But I kind of just like love having a moment in time that happens.
Yes.
And then you let it go.
Because that is what any album is, studio
Yeah.
album or live album. It's just a time capsule of one moment in time.
Especially with this music where it's like, this is how we play it and we're not, so in a studio it's fun because you can try new ideas out maybe and you can add more and have more of like a producer role, but I don't know, I just love playing it and there it is.
I will forever love a live album because I mean, one thing we all learned, you probably too, during COVID, was that the audience is the other band member.
Yes.
And we can't exist without them. We have to have them. And so to be able to record an album with that other band member is incredible, and you just can't, it doesn't matter how good you are of a musician, you just can't replace them in the studio. It's so hard to get that energy, especially if you're doing these like kind of single track style things. It's just, it's a beast to get that energy. I'm still stumped by it. I'll be forever.
Yeah, and also I feel like we come into the studio, or like I wasn't on the first album, but like for the second album, like we all came into the studio with almost an exact understanding of what we wanted, like, and we'd already figured out the arrangements and all of this stuff. And I feel like a big thing of making a studio album is just coming up with, like, sometimes people like go into the studio and they don't know everything that's going to happen on it yet, and like it's like an experimental thing. And for us it was like, well, we're just going to play our stuff, you know.
Yeah. I feel like all those songs were really road tested. It's all, and it's like definitely like the sophomore offering of like we've been on the road together playing, 100+ dates every year for a couple years, and so it like feels like the first one was like right out of the gate, and so like I feel like at a maturity and like a differentiation of just like our sound between the two records of that too. A maturation. No one's ever called me mature before, so I'll call myself
Do
mature.
it, like you've got a lot of luck with self-declaration.
We're a super group and we're super mature.
Big Richard, thank you all so much. On that, we will wrap it up, but thank you again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Started like a song and I can't remember how it goes or how you go. Just running like a freight train, carry you back down that track you've been before, just like before. And it's the same old story that you told us at my kitchen table. You could only get so close before you're pulled away, and you could never stay. Goodbye doesn't mean that it's over. Goodbye doesn't feel like the end. Goodbye for a million little reasons. Goodbye, so long, my friend. Long before we parted, just like two twin flames, we burned into this world, into this world. You're gonna burn out on your own now, 'cause sharing felt just like losing control, and you lost control. And it's the same old story that we've heard a million times. I'll never dim my shine, 'cause someone else feels like I shine too bright. I just hold on tight. Goodbye doesn't mean that it's over. Goodbye doesn't feel like the end. Goodbye for a million little reasons. Goodbye, so long, my friend. And time rolls by like the miles. I can finally smile when you cross my mind. Goodbye, goodbye, so long, my friend. Goodbye doesn't mean that it's over. Goodbye doesn't feel like the end. Goodbye for a million little reasons. Goodbye, so long, my friend. Goodbye doesn't mean that it's over. Goodbye doesn't feel like the end. Goodbye for a million little reasons. Goodbye, so long, my friend.
If you enjoyed watching Sounds on 29th, we hope you'll support PBS 12 to help bring you more fun, grassroots local music programming. Visit pbs12.org/program support and donate today.